Howdy.
Howdy.
Welcome back to Chat with Chris and Pat. And today we're going to be going over our new BodPod results. So we've been doing this every month.
Every month. This time it was just in 3 weeks. I think that's important to say.
Yeah, it's been 3 weeks instead of 4 weeks. Typically we would do 4 weeks, but we're going to visit our daughter who just moved to the country. So we're so excited.
Yeah.
And we get to go visit her. And her husband, they moved to Italy. So woohoo, yay us. We have like the whole crew over here. Well, close to the whole crew, not really, but getting there. And anyway, so all that to say, we're going to show you our BodPod results for 3 weeks worth of strict carnivore. However, it's not even strict carnivore right now because we did add fermented vegetables.
Yeah, like sauerkraut and kimchi's.
So, what's interesting is I stayed the exact same for percentage of body fat. However, that's partially because my body weight went down, and so anyway. I'll show you. So here's where we're at right now with mine. Okay, so since the beginning of January, I've lost 7.6 pounds of fat, which I'm pretty excited about. I think that's great. And my fat-free mass went down a bit. So one of the things we were talking about, because, I don't want to be losing muscle. However, what we were talking about is the past several times that I've gone, it's been right either in the middle or right at the end of my cycle. And now it's not there at all because, we're a week early. So she said that's probably due to cycle fluctuation.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what it is like next time I go, if I'm able to do this not in the middle of a cycle. And we'll be able to get a better reading on that. She said, don't worry about that part so much. But like in 3 weeks, I've dropped 0.6 pounds of actual fat off the body. So it just feels really good to have steady progress. And what I'm really wanting to see at this point is increase in muscle mass, because that's what I'm really working on, because muscle is medicine.
So muscle mass, the equivalent is fat-free weight. Is that what that is?
It's fat-free weight.
Fat-free weight, yeah.
Well, what they count as fat-free weight is water and muscle and bone and all those things that aren't fat.
Right.
Hence the name fat-free mass. But as I stand right now, I'm still in the moderately lean category because I'm 29%, which is just under this. I'm borderline excess fat, which is where I started. And if you look at me and you can see, you wouldn't think I'm borderline. I don't have, this is, and then this back here. Right here, right? That's where I think that fat kind of just hangs out. But at 47, I'm doing what I know to do. Thanks, baby. And we're making some lifestyle changes so that we could be, 87 and still thriving, health related. So, you want to talk about your numbers? Where you're at?
Turn.
Your turn.
Okay. Yeah. So here are my numbers. So not like. Oh, is it still on?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. So this is not as significant as the last two. So there's maybe a tapering off, maybe a plateauing, if you will. But also it was 3 weeks instead of 4.
But you lost 1.1 pounds of fat in 3 weeks.
It's awesome. More progress, and yeah.
That's pretty awesome. And your fat-free mass went down too.
Yeah, went down 1.
A little less than 1. It's 0.7.
Yeah.
So, it's interesting to see how this all works together because the amount of weight lost to me doesn't really matter as much as fat lost, because the weight, I'm okay with the weight going up if it's muscle mass and not fat mass. Right,
exactly.
But you are still at excess fat level. He's still over here at excess fat level. And he's going to do a demonstration
here. This is what excess fat looks like.
I know, right? So
you know, and I imagine you guys are thinking, oh my gosh, the science is bullshitting you. Or,
but see, it's right here. It's caught in this part of the body. And so it's just interesting to see where our bodies hold the fat, you know, and then there's the visceral fat internally that you can't even see.
Yeah.
So, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, in my experience, maybe yours too, people are like, oh, you don't need to lose weight.
Oh my God, all the time. Maybe mine? Hello.
Okay.
Constant.
Yeah, have you had that? So it's like, it's kind of, you know, I think about the logic behind this. I've got somebody that is more than likely not an expert telling me I don't need to lose weight. And then I've got this scientific method telling me I'm in the excess fat category. So I know what I'd rather listen to.
Yeah, well, and the excess fat, what they're talking about is excess fat that contributes to disease and contributes to longevity disruptions later in life, right?
Yeah.
But what we're also going to be looking at is doing the in-bod or so, I don't know. There's some other thing.
The in-body?
Yeah. There's another
test,
thing that they have
is
available.
More descriptive. Mm-hmm. It captures more stuff.
So I'd be interested to see how you guys measure your visceral fat and like what systems you're using for that, because that's what we're trying to figure out. And like because we're in Italy, you know, we're trying to figure out how to do MRIs and everything is a little bit much, but I'm sure we can. We just have to go outside some comfort zones.
I'm being a little naive about it, but I have a feeling it won't be any problem.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe. So that's another thing that we should probably really pursue if we're wanting to get serious about understanding visceral fat, because you really just need to see it in MRIs, like Dr. Shahnamara talks about. But I just don't know if that encourages anybody out there to go and do like a body composition scan or something, but you know, just because what you look like on the outside does not necessarily mean what's actually going on the inside. So it's usually good to do some sort of tracking.
Yeah, for me, it's constructive.
Yeah.
You know, it motivates me.
Yeah, and the goal is health.
The goal is health.
Right?
Health and longevity.
Health and longevity.
And feeling good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had too many people in our lives, like we talked about in another video, die too early and die with conditions that could have been prevented if they had taken their health more seriously early on. And so we'd prefer to learn from the mistakes of others rather than have to go through that ourselves. So anyway, that's our results, and we'll keep you updated on the next one.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nope.
Ciao.
Ciao.